clip from Menopause, the musical. So, what do women have in common? Aging, weight gain, hot flashes, sometimes called a personal or private summer. These things can be stressful.
Hello, and welcome to A Seat at the Table. I'm Christine White. It's been called everything from men on pause to menopausal, but it's just our body's way of telling us things are changing.
I'm Denise Milner. It happens to all of us as we meet our middle age. Our bodies are doing what they need to do. It's a remarkable journey. For some women, it's one that we want to avoid, but you know what? It's inevitable. And I'm here to tell you it's beautiful, freeing, and the path to wisdom and self-love.
I'm Monica Pearson, and today we're having some straight talk about women, menopause, and the art of aging gracefully. Let's take a look at what Oprah's perspective is in 2011 on aging.
One of the things I've said is if you're blessed enough to grow older, which is how I look at aging, if you're blessed enough to grow older, I think often of all the people who didn't make it to 57.
Tell me your thoughts that you went through as you began aging and coming on to this new level of womanhood.
That's what I think every birthday. I think of all the people who never got to say, I'm 57, and how blessed I am to be able to hold that space.
Now, that was 8 years ago. Oprah is now 65. I'm 71. I went through menopause at 50. You two are on your way.
I'm in the middle. I'm not in the middle of menopause. I'm in the middle of perimenopause, right? Which is right before you completely get rid of your body stops
Producing eggs.
Right, basically, right? And they're, it's inevitable. But you know what? I feel like all of the bad things that I heard about it, all of the things that I was like sitting here steeling myself for, they haven't been that bad for me.
But I think a lot of it is because you exercise so much. I remember when I went through menopause, the best advice I was given was, one, make sure you're dressed in layers so that you can take off when you start sweating. And then the second one was the more you exercise, the better your sleep will be. Because there's
Many TV shows don't really talk about menopause. They don't really touch on this subject. So can you tell me in the comments some of the advice that you've received and heard on the subject?
nothing like waking up at night wringing wet.
Right.
So you keep the room a little cooler. I couldn't take hormone replacement therapy because I had had breast cancer, but there were so many alternatives. But I will tell you a funny story. I was interviewing James Bond, Sean Connery, and I actually warned him in advance. I said, I am going through menopause, and I had to be honest.
Right.
And
You
I
had to
said,
tell him?
I told him because when I started breaking out in a sweat, he's going to wonder what is going on. Is she having a heart attack?
Or am I just that fine?
Well, here's what he did to make me comfortable, and it became the most important part of the interview. He actually said, oh, things are getting a little warm in here. And he played it off as if we were having, a little tete-a-tete. But that shows you that you can't control it. Then with Patti LaBelle, she was just like, well, girl, I know what you're doing. And that was that. But see, you're in your 30s. You have no idea what we're talking about.
I'm actually 41. And but I mean, I don't know. I don't know why we don't talk about this more. I mean, we talk a little bit about what happens when you're an adolescent and people warn you, but women have not been as forthright with me about what happens as you begin to age. And my question is, what happens with the sex? Does it change?
It shouldn't change, but for some women, when they stop ovulating and stop having periods, there are women like me who are going, yes. But then there are other women who look at it as a passage where, I'll no longer be able to have children. They look at it as kind of a death, whereas for most of my friends, it's like freeing.
Yes, ma'am. home because I'm waiting for these eggs to go. I don't need y'all no more. I am so good. I had one child. She is grown. It's time to be done with this piece. I don't need all of that.
Let me tell you something, though. I think the biggest issue is that this is a woman's issue, right? And the health community does not talk about women's issues, particularly our health. We'll talk about Viagra until the cows come home, erectile dysfunction until the cows come home. But we won't talk about how our bodies change as we age, even when we don't look our age.
Listen, let me tell you, getting older has been incredible for me. I have enjoyed maturing, the wisdom, the peace that comes with it. But I still get treated like I am 25-year-old, like a 25-year-old out in these streets.
Yeah, because you look it. And, you know.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
Listen,
Don't treat me like,
I am totally the get off my lawn, get off my lawn.
These young boys are at me, okay? Can I just tell you?
Yes, it's awesome.
But it's nice to know you don't have to worry about with those young boys getting pregnant.
This is true, but I do not want to have to raise a child. So, I don't know. Maturity is a touchy subject, and so when I'm starting to date younger guys, they're.
Let me know, is menopausal an open dialogue within your family, or is it something that's more closed and something that you have to experience, on your own?
Just things that I notice that I don't even know how to explain to them that I'm in a different place in my life.
Right.
You just are honest. But I want to get back to something you said. And when you said that, the medical community doesn't really talk about this, that it's not something, Menopause, a musical, how old is that?
Right.
But in 1994, I did a special called Hot Flash, The Truth About Menopause. And everybody's like, nobody's going to watch that show. It was amazing how many people watched it. But here's the interesting point. Men responded because they were worried about, hey, now I know what she's going through, because a wife or a girlfriend would not talk about the problem of the sweating. They wouldn't talk about vaginal dryness. And back then, there weren't many alternatives. You're going to use gobbledygook in order to keep moist, in order to have sex. Whereas now, there are all these things that are available, like the Mona Lisa touch, which is a laser that's used inside of the vagina that literally keeps it moist. So, it's different. And now we are talking about our sexuality, which we did not before. Now, you talked about age. My husband's 8 years younger than I am. And I've always dated younger men. Only one older man. But because of the sexuality, because, you're at different ages, and more interesting. They don't want to sit at home and look at TV.
Or be asleep by 9:30
on Saturday night.
That was actually sounds like fun to me. I'm just saying. But,
well, maybe you need to get older, man.
Girl, listen.
You need to be an old man's baby.
But you know what? We didn't talk about periods when we were kids. And we're not talking enough about how our bodies change when those periods go away. It's all the same conversation. My mother never talked to me about my period, and it was a surprise to her when she found out that I had it, because I never told her.
That's interesting.
And because we just didn't have that kind of rapport.
See, we did. Even though I'm older, my mother started talking to me about a period.
Did she talk to you about menopause?
No.
Right.
She did not talk about menopause.
That's my point, is that we need to be sharing this information with one another.
But we're a more open generation. Your generation is much more open to talk about those things. And the reality is you can't get away from it. I mean, as long as you age, it is inevitable. But how you deal with it makes the difference.
Well, a lot of women are having hysterectomies. And I think that since the 80s and the 90s, there were more hysterectomies happening than now, because they would just say you don't need those parts, we'll just take them out. Well, we're finding out that it is better to try to keep some of your parts so you can keep your hormones balanced. And so my mother had a hysterectomy really, really young. So she started the hot flashes really young, and she would always say, you gonna find out what it's like. And my grandmama said, well, the sex ain't changed since they took my insides out.
The crazy part about it is, when I was younger, I used to listen to my aunts and my mother and all that stuff, and the women be talking, and I've heard them tell my little cousins, you gonna find out one day. And I never knew what they was talking about. Never knew. And then when she mentioned it just now, that's when it dawned on me.
So Thanks, Grandma.
Well,
Appreciate it.
Well, as my mother used to say to me, as you are, I once was. As I am, you one day will be. That's the message I'm giving to you.
There it is.
And it's so
There it
natural,
is.
so we got to just deal with it and talk about it and be open about it because it's natural.
And then you have to be open about it with men, too.
Yes,
Absolutely.
they definitely
Absolutely.
need to know.
understand.
Okay, wait. Hold that thought. This
Okay.
is a great
Okay.
conversation. We have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be joined by an age enthusiast who will give us a scoop on WisePause. What's that?
I love that.
Yes.
Going through the
Wow.
sensible. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know this is going to sound like a very stupid question, and it is a very stupid question, especially for a man my age.
No, go ahead, hit me with it.
What is menopause? I mean, I've heard of it. I know that it happens.
You know what? Menopause is hell.
It is.
Jimmy.
Is it really?
Menopause is a dark hole. Okay, that's what menopause is, and that's where I'm at right now. So I either will love my husband today or kill him today.
Oh, no.
Welcome back to A Seat at the Table. We're joined by an age enthusiast, Denise Pines. She's the founder of WisePause Lifestyle Summit and the president of the Medical Board of California. She also serves in leadership positions at California University of Science and Medicine, School of Medicine. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Is that really hell? Don't tell me it's hell.
It's not. It's not hell. It's not at all. It's I think we have moved into a space for women where age is, we're not being defined by that, right? We got Nancy Pelosi, we have 5 women running for presidency. So we're seeing like women evolve right now. So now we need to help women as we get older evolve by starting to talk about something that we spend 30% of our life in this phase, perimenopause and menopause. So we want to enjoy it.
Yes.
Right? So that's sort of my take on it, is that we're going to enjoy this phase. This is a rediscovery phase for us. Women, you know, if you've had children, you find that they're starting to come out of the house, and you find yourself like, what are those things that I liked before I was running them around to everything they had to do? What did I used to like to do? And so now it's a time for us to rediscover that, and there's so many things to rediscover. So I think it's the best time of our lives.
Yes.
So why did you come up with WisePause?
That's right.
And have you gone through it yet?
I have gone through it. It's still going through it. So my first trigger that I had arrived was having a hot flash. So I was sitting at my desk working, and all of a sudden I thought, oh my God, I'm having a human combustion moment. I thought, I love horror, so when I was a kid, I watched this movie where humans were exploding and the brains were popping all over, and that's what I thought. And the first thing I thought was like, oh my God, do I have clean underwear on? Right? And like, do I have my stuff in order? Who did I say I was giving what to? And
You thought you were dying.
Yeah, and then it died down, and I was like, oh, okay. Went back, and it happened over and over and over again. So I reached out to my naturopath doctor, chatted with him, and he said, oh, I thought it was going to happen to you, but here, take some tea. He had given me some tea maybe a year earlier. So I said, well, let me see what's happening to me, recorded my own, like how often. I was having them every hour.
Oh,
so severe. So that's what you call severe, when you're having them every hour.
wow.
And you were how old?
So this was probably 4 years ago. So I'm 53 now, so I was like 49.
Wow.
So started taking the tea. Next minute I knew they had reduced down to about 1 a day.
Wow.
Good.
And so said, hey, this is something that we need to bring to women. We just simply call it hot flash tea. And I still take it every day because I'm not through. I'm not through that phase. And even when we kind of get through, even 10 years later, you can still find an occurring hot flash here and there. So we never really kind of totally get through it once it begins, if hot flashes is what you have. So 80% of the women get hot flashes. Those 20%, like, I love those women. I wish I was one of them.
I had them for about 3 months.
Okay.
And then one of my girlfriends was just like, you got to step up your exercising again, because I had started, you know, kind of laying it down by the wayside.
Yeah.
Right.
And she was like, you got to get back to it. And as soon as I got back to that, and as soon as I started cutting out some things out of my diet and increasing some others, No more problems.
But you also talked about the fact that you had a period and then you didn't have a period for months.
That's
Yes.
and then can we please talk about that?
Yes,
because
we can. So that's kind of, we'll talk a little about WisePause. So WisePause lifestyle is something that I am bringing across the country. We're going from Atlanta to LA to Boston to New York to DC to talk with women, to bring like the best midlife experts together, the best modalities together and therapies together, and then let women actually play for a few hours and experiment with some of these therapies and modalities. So
That was the question I had, because my assumption was that you had to go to a doctor. If you're having hot flashes, and you should go to the doctor, and the doctor's going to give you some hormones or something, but there are other ways to handle it.
there's so many.
And my question is, I understand that women go through these kind of things, but what is it that men can do, that, especially the men in your life, that can help you overcome these hurdles just a little bit easier? Is there anything that we can say, or should we just step away and let you deal with it on your own? Let me know in the comments.
Many other ways. So
my
one
doctors
is,
never talked to me about it.
most of them
Ever.
aren't going to talk to you about them. So a lot of our doctors are the doctors that we have when we're younger. So we start off with our doctor when we're younger. They help us go through our pregnancies, and that's where they're their best. Where they're not their best is as women get older. And it's mostly because they're not taught when they're in medical school about women's bodies as the body gets
Unless
older.
they're a geriatric doctor. I hate to put it
Well,
that
there's not
way.
that many studying geriatrics.
And also about what you said about women's doctors. Is it best for women to have women doctors? At least that way they have a better understanding of what the women is going through or may be going through at that time. Let me know in the comments, do you prefer women doctors, or are you okay with men doctors?
Even when we look at how the society is aging, there's still not a lot of people wanting to go into that, right? So we have to start thinking about, how do we want to live active and independent much longer? How do we do that? Exercise, better nutrition.
Well, what I want to know is, if we are living longer and everyone is understanding that we're aging and we're aging gracefully, why do we still have this?
Some of us are aging gracefully.
Why even in the medical community do we have a stigma? Like, folks don't want to go into geriatrics. It sounds like a bad word. It shouldn't be a word that has a stigma attached to it.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying.
Or get a woman doctor who's your age.
That's what works.
And that works.
Absolutely.
The medical community is run by men. We still have to accept that. There are just still areas that are in our society that's very male dominant. So when we look at that, the medical field is male dominant. Women are stuck in an area of fear because they feel that the loss of their fertility means it's the loss of their femininity.
Which is not
So
true.
these are all the things operating right now in this space. And so the more we actually talk about it, like the way we are today, the more we're going to progress to the next step and really then have people not sort of medicalize hormones, right? So to look at that there are other ways. Yes, our body is starting to shift and have a different imbalance. Menopause is simply, as you said, a full year of not having a menstruation. That's what menopause is.
You hear that, body? Don't go for 9 months and then pop back up.
Yeah, pop back up. So you can still get pregnant.
Yeah.
Listen,
Ma'am.
this is not what you want. This is not what you want.
I'm telling you, this is not a lie, exaggeration. At 56, they got pregnant. They have their babies. They're 58 now. So it is still possible. Again,
See, this is problematic for me.
With a 20-year-old.
This is why I really.
Okay, so ladies, let me know about that. How would you feel knowing or thinking that you are done with kids? You are maybe in your 50s, almost 60s, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, pregnant. So let me know in the comments. I need to know. I mean, I'm not asking would you have the baby. That's none of my business. How would you feel?
Want the medical community to get over their issues, because there's so much attention given to men erectile dysfunction, as you talk about. There's so much attention given to all of the phases that men go through, but we don't get as much attention to our
I was serious,
changes.
Christine, when I said you have to find a physician
Yes.
Yeah.
who
Who's gonna
relates to you.
Yeah.
Now, like over
Yeah.
at Morehouse Medical School, when I see Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice heading that school,
Yes.
I see more women
Yes.
in
Yes.
that school.
Right. Yeah.
And I purposely don't go to a doctor who delivers babies because I go to a doctor who is my age
Right.
and understands
Yeah.
what I'm going through. So I
Right.
think, you know, until the medical community catches up, I'm going to
Right.
find somebody
Yeah.
who's with me.
Yeah.
Now, see, what she said brings in a good point. So, should you choose a doctor that's aging as you age? Meaning, if you are in your 40s, then should you prefer doctors that's in their 40s? That way, they have a better understanding of what you're going through, or should it not matter? Let me know in the comments.
I totally agree. All of us need to be going to somebody who is a hormone specialist or a menopause specialist. That's who we have to see. And it may not be the doctor you've seen for the last 20 years.
Right.
If you go to a doctor and they say, well, this is just the science of aging, you just have to deal with it, say thank you for all the years you've served me, and you now
Wrap it
fine.
up.
Start
Yeah.
talking
Right.
to some friends and go to someone else at that point.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think that there's also a stigma that is attached to Black women because we don't age on the outside as much.
Yeah,
We,
chocolate don't chip.
Yeah, chocolate don't. Ooh, I haven't heard that one. Black don't crack. Beige don't age. And so, you know, I've always felt like I was younger looking than my true age.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of conversation that I have with folks about aging. I mean, it's just not something that comes up. Although Black women are aging faster on the inside. There are research studies saying that we're 7 years older than our white counterparts internally because of stress.
Yes.
And so one of the great things about aging, I said for me, was that it's given me such peace. But how can Black women do a better job of aging gracefully internally?
So let's talk about what sort of happens. So with women, definitely with Black women, we have the stress of being a woman, being Black, being a wife or a partner, having kids, and caretaking. And a lot of times that stress starts in our 20s and 30s.
That's right.
Yes.
So when we have stress that has started 20s, 30s, and we haven't figured out how to resolve that, doing yoga, meditation, chilling out, massage, or any of those kinds of things, then we now start getting older, and now our hormones start to change. We have a backup system. So really, we should have no symptoms of menopause other than simply the period goes away.
Right.
Our backup system is our adrenals. But we stress those out in our 20s and 30s. So by the time our 40s come, they're shot, right? So we have to then really take care of ourselves from a nutrition standpoint, really start exercising and moving our bodies. And as we get older, the best kind of exercise is what they call HIIT exercise, which is that high intensity.
So, wait a minute, hold on, make sure I heard this correctly. Is she basically saying the stress of a woman early on in life dictates how the menopause reacts on the woman later in life? I mean, at least that's the way I'm taking it. Let me know in the comments if I heard that correctly.
Yes.
You do it for like 20, 30 minutes.
Yes.
It's super. You feel like you're dying, but that's the best to rejuvenate.
Can I shout out my trainer right now?
please.
Because my
Yes.
trainer is in her 40s. She looks like she's early 30s, and she's the one who I went to and said, listen, my body is changing. And as soon as I started working with her, my hot flashes disappeared.
For
She's
me-
amazing.
For me, it's been yoga.
And for me, it's been Pilates.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
there's a yoga instructor here in Atlanta named Miss Jan. When I tell you Miss Jan has me wanting to be 60-something because she fine as she want to be, and she also brings that peace back to it.
That's
The
right.
anxiety of being in your 20s and wanting to be successful and having to go and do, and then being taught to breathe and being taught how to meditate and how to be comfortable in your own skin and comfortable in your own body.
That's
That
right.
is the gift of your 40s.
And
right.
for me, at 71, you know, Dr. Vernette McKnight,
right.
who's my Pilates instructor, but she's also a yoga instructor. She's a doula. And she has taught me literally how to calm down and how to stretch myself. I have finally learned while aging that the best way to take care of me is to take care of me.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right.
Yes.
I will tell you, I have never felt stronger, prettier, smarter, wiser than I have in my entire life. I thought when my mom hit 50, like life is over, get the rocking chair out, she's retiring. Like that's the way that we were thought. That's the way that we were taught. But here I am knocking on 51, and I'm like looking at these little 20-year-olds like, okay, man.
But I will tell you, that 40 will keep you juicy, honey. Because I was like, they said that, you know, their hormones come out in your 20s. No, ma'am, I'm just getting good, okay?
Thank you. Give me some, boo-boo. Give me some.
So you had talked a little bit about yoga. So there's another yoga called Tantra yoga.
Oh, yes.
Which is amazing. And there's actually a lot of Tantra that goes on in this city of Atlanta. There's a whole institute. So for those who
What
are
is
out there.
Tantra yoga?
So Tantra yoga helps you actually
Yes.
get from your mind, which we tend to be with sex, right? So we sometimes get our sex feelings from our religion, you know, like, depending on your religion, if it's hardcore, you know, it's how we're supposed to be this way, what we think the do's or don'ts about sexuality. So a lot of times we live in our mind with sex. This helps you get all the way down to where you actually experience it and
To
how
your
to
chakra.
actually stimulate this area. So for a lot of women who during this time may have a low libido or their sex drive may kind of wane a little bit, Tantra would be the first thing I would start with before they start trying to take something else.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm not there yet.
Don't have those
But
problems.
it can enhance.
thanks.
If you're not there, it can enhance.
It can enhance.
I'll take that
And we're all about enhancement.
Yes, I'm all about the enhancement.
juicy.
Keep it juicy. Yes.
I
Well,
like
thank you
that.
for preparing me, because I'm ready.
Denise, thank you
You're
so much for
welcome.
joining
Thank
us
you.
today.
I
We can talk
appreciate
about
it.
this for another hour.
Yes.
Okay, easily. Because
Easy.
there's certain things we just didn't even touch on. How to deal with the
Now,
problems.
Not being juicy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about that. Yeah.
Let loose the juice.
We have to go, but the conversation.
Okay, ladies, I will be honest with you. This video has taught me quite a lot, and I know there's always room to learn more. Now, I don't want to overstep my boundaries, but let me know if I should do this. I want to create a Discord group and put it in the comments for you all to participate in, just so I can learn just a little bit more about what you all go through. It's at the same time, this group as well as this channel is a safe haven for you. Now, let me know if you're okay with that. I will be more than happy to create it. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about this video as well as my idea. Be sure to like, share, watch more videos, and subscribe to the channel.